Just imagine 20% of world's crude oil and gas passes through just this tiny passage. Even if it closes for a week time, our petrol prices dramatically increases, our country's inflation hits hard. China factory slows down, Europe definitely faces energy crisis. Yes, we are going to explore the burning topic today, the choke point, which we all knew, Strait of Hormuz. Let's cover its full story. From ancient BC times to world wars and right up to 2026 crisis. Let's start from starting. Over 5,000 years ago, traders from Mesopotamia and Indus Valley used these small boats to carry spices, pearls, ivory through this little small 30-kilometer passage. So that time it's peaceful, happy life. But then came Persian Empire. They realized this is a strategic choke point. Why? Because they knew that if they control it, they can control the entire world. 325 BC, Alexander the Great was actually returning from India. He sent his admiral to survey this route. That is where the first recorded voyage through this strait happened. Then Greeks called this Hormuz, meaning it's a safe harbor. And Persians named it as Hormuz after their divine figure Ahura Mazda. That becomes Hormuz. By the 13th and 14th centuries, the kingdom of Hormuz becomes a superpower for importing spices from China, horses from Arabia, and silks from India. In 1515, Portuguese explorers built a fortress near these islands. And Portuguese knew that if they can again control the Hormuz, they can control entire Indian Ocean. Every time the empire, the kings and queens understood this, whoever controls this passage, they can control the global power. And this has been happening from ages. Fast forward to 1908, oil discovered in Iran, and obviously Britain took over the control. That's when World War I also started. So oil becoming a weapon for battleships, this tiny passage and Persian Gulf turned super strategic just because of this little tiny passage. Then came World War II again, and 1941, Britain's lifeline for oil imports. In 1951, Iran nationalized its oil. Again, Britain blockaded the strait, so no tankers allowed. As expected, Iran's economy collapsed and their regime was fell. This was the first modern world lesson for Iran. Close Hormuz, bring Iran to its knees. Then 1980 to 1988, Iran-Iraq war started. This is where the real tanker war started. Both sides attacked tankers with missiles and mines. The US reflagged Kuwaiti tankers and escorted them. It was called Operation Praying Mantis. So US Navy destroyed 40% of Iran's navy. But full closure never happened because Iran needed to sell its own oil to China, India and other countries. So the key lesson here for Iran was always Hormuz becomes double-edged sword. So fast forward to 2026. Normally 21 million barrels of daily transit through this narrow path happens. Saudi, UAE, Iraq, Qatar, Iran, all depends on it. Just imagine China gets 90% of its Iranian oil through this passage. And India is a major importer too. Few weeks close it, oil could hit 130 to 200 per barrel. Inflation rises, food prices jump, shipping companies suffer. Yes, you guessed it right, our LPG gas is dependent on this. And we are already preparing worse times. Because last month, February 28, this year, US and Israel, they struck Iran and Supreme Leader targeted. So as usual, Iran retaliated. It started to threaten close Hormuz. Mines deployed, attacks on commercial ships, drones, missiles, and hell lot of headlines daily. So due to this useless and mindless war, ships traffic dropped 90%. Many shipping giants, Maersk, MSC, suspended transits rerouting around Africa, which is a long journey. And Brent crude oil prices crossed 100 plus already, which means $100 a barrel. And who gets the punishment? Yes, we. As Asian countries facing petrol and diesel shock, our Indian refineries are already on alert. Either you agreed or not, yes, we are in an emergency. But guys, here is another brutal impact. It's not just about oil. Beneath the same waters lie a dense fiber optic cables, carrying 95 to 97% of intercontinental internet traffic between Europe, Asia, Africa and Gulf. So together with Red Sea, Hormuz handles nearly 30% of global data that flow these routes. Banks, stock markets, hospitals, AI models, your Zoom calls, your UPI transactions, everything rides through these tiny cables. If even one cable gets cut out by just mine or anchor drag or a strike, India loses up to 1/3 of Western data traffic. Slower Netflix, delayed bank transactions, and data centers collapsed. So, global latency spikes and stock exchanges definitely gets a glitch. And hospital loses cloud records. Full blackouts by the internet cables can happen. It will take months long repair to fix. We all should be ready for internet blackouts, and individuals keep offline backups, cache reserves, and download offline Google Maps. The real question is, are we heading to World War III? If so, let's be ready to face mainly shortage of not only fuel, but also the internet. So avoid long travels, consider work from home. This is the time we end up losing our internet too. So in my next video, let's talk about what should India's plan be if COVID kind of situation comes just because of these wars and the Strait of Hormuz closure.